Maybe towards the end of public comment.
Sorted.
Any further public comment?
Yes, sir.
Seeing none, we'll move on to, there being no old business, we'll move on to new business. Item 1 under new business. Consideration of the approval of Resolution 2022-001, authorizing the submission of the application for the Crapo Park restrooms grant. Mr. Klemp.
Yes, so I'm working with the Parks, Village Parks Department, and as well as, well, specifically Sarah McCanny, and kind of coupling that with the depot project in writing this grant through Oakland County Parks in order to bring some permanent restrooms into Crapo Park. One that helps the Crapo Park, obviously, with giving it better facilities for the park, but also to helps the depot project, which is kind of my other side of wanting to do this. It helps the depot project in that was part of our plan and part of our budget as well, and so it alleviates some of that budget items that we'd have to fundraise for as well. And Crapo Park being also in the DDA area makes it the perfect type of grant for me to write for. What we need is just this resolution from council, just to show the support from the village council that we're moving forward with that.
I support it, by the way, but where we're going to put the restrooms, Crapo Park is not a large park, but where was your idea of putting the restrooms?
So I'm working with Brian right now. We don't have the exact spot nailed down yet. We have a couple areas that we're looking at, but that's something that I'm working with Brian on doing right now.
Mr. President, if I may.
Yes.
One of the grant requirements is that projects must be identified in an approved or adopted plan. And that could be a Parks and Rec plan, capital improvement plan, Trailways Master Plan, etc. Do we have a plan that specifically identifies? Because, like Mr. Powers, I think this is great, and I commend you for your work on this. I really appreciate it. But I just want to make sure that we have our ducks in a row so that we're not denied that funding, for want of a plan.
Yeah, well, within the park's current plan that they have, within the DDA TIF plan, development plan, and also within the master plan, it doesn't specifically come out and say restrooms, but it says to keep it updated, to add facilities, to make it a usable area. And so I think that will, while it doesn't specifically say restrooms, I think it'll be enough to show that that it's something that we would want for Crapo Park.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Also, when Ryan and I were talking about it, Mr. Hoffman, being our commissioner from the area, is he involved with this at all? Seems like he should be, since he's the Holly Village Commissioner for the county.
Not in particular. I mean, we're working on it through the DDA in that matter,
Right.
And through the parks, but no.
I was just thinking he might be able to expedite things for us, or give us some insight into what the people they're going to reviewing the grants, what they're expecting and what they're hoping for.
Well, with grants, I mean, it's pretty specific what they're looking for, and it's and really it's not a difficult grant compared to other grants that I've wrote for in the past. I mean, it's pretty spelled out, quite well what they are looking for.
Okay.
Nick, it says that the grant will require a local match of 25% of requested funds. Where is that 25% derived from?
Yeah, so that is not just monetary funds, so it can be included as any kind of village work that goes into it, so anything that the DPW puts into it, any work that's in-kind type of work that's put into it.
That can be
And then,
What? That can be counted towards the 25%?
Yes, that's counted towards that percentage, as well as looking for funds maybe through the DDA that can help match
So
monetarily
this
as
isn't
well.
25,000 that comes out of general fund, or?
Right.
Okay, that's what I wanted to hear.
Yep.
Do we have a quote on bathrooms?
Yeah, so we have one quote, and Brian is kind of in charge of looking through those. He's getting a couple others as well.
What happens if it goes over the 75% that the grant is for?
Goes over this.
Say it comes in at more than 75. Let's just
Oh,
do
the money that
75
we're asking
that
for.
you're
you mean?
asking.
If it
Yeah.
goes over budget.
Right,
I see.
if it goes
Yeah,
over
no,
budget.
I think
Thank you.
where we're at, even with what we have already, that we have the funds that we'd get from the grant would match it already. So, and Brian's looking for a couple less expensive ones. So even with the one that we have already, it would cover that.
Okay, thank you.
But it is in the DDA district, and DDA funds would be available too.
Yes.
Yeah, and they've got good budget.
Yes.
And would that fall under that category? I know they had a $25,000 grant for the relocation. Is that specific for moving the depot, or?
Yes.
So
Yeah.
it's got to be used specifically for the depot,
Yes,
and
yes.
that would not be able to be used on the bathrooms?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Any further questions or comments? Thank you, Nick.
All right. Thank you.
I'll make the motion that we approve the resolution 2022-001, authorizing the submission of the application for the Craple Park restrooms grant.
Second.
Motion by Musgrave, support by Delaney.
Yeah.
Okay. Any further discussion? A roll call vote, please.
Delaney,
Yes.
Kinnaman,
Yes.
Powers,
Yes.
Perkins,
Yes.
Musgrave,
Yes.
Weinbrenner,
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes, motion carried. Item 2 under new business, consideration of the approval of 2022 fireworks raffle. Mr. Walker?
Thank you, Mr. President. So each year, the village conducts fireworks events. It used to be that we conducted one event, and it was an event that was sponsored by the village itself and not the Parks Commission specifically. Over the last couple of years, last 5 years probably, we've transitioned the event over to become sponsored by the Parks Commission, as the fireworks are held for public enjoyment and they're conducted in a village park, being Lakeside Park, and shot over Bush Lake. Then in addition, in 2015, when the sesquicentennial occurred, celebrating the village's 150th birthday, we did fireworks from a downtown location, specifically from the parking lot of the police department and the prior fire department. And the fireworks were shot over, and still are, over or in the proximity of the old historic water tower. And so that display really is pretty prominent. We had a lot of comments from people that say, we really like the downtown shoot as good or better than the large shoot over the parks. And I think part of the reason for that is the fireworks are shot at a lower height, so they're able to use smaller product, which means they can use more product. And so it's just a more rapid display, but the whole downtown display works out very well. So we now have, since 2015, we have 2 fireworks events. The total cost for both fireworks events are between $14,000 and $15,000, depending upon the exact product that is selected. And we have contract through Ace Pyrotechnics for those fireworks, as we have the last several years. Previous to 2011, fireworks were paid for through the general fund. And while there's nothing improper about that, council and myself felt at the time, back in 2011, that a better way to do this, if possible, would be to fundraise and not use general fund dollars for this type of activity really is something that the community could join together and have a real community event. And so we went down that road. So over the years, over the last 10 years or so, we've used different methods of fundraising. In the past, we've done things like a large ticket raffle with a Harley Davidson, which was very successful. Last year, and then we've done spaghetti or celebrity server nights where we serve dinners at the villagers and different types of smaller raffles. Last year, we raffled off an ATV with our partners at Holly Power Sports, a connection made through the Holly Area Chamber of Commerce, and that was very successful. We raised quite a bit of money with that, and along with other contributions, we were able to conduct the fireworks. This year, I am in discussions with, and I have a correction, I must have had a Freudian slip because I wrote LaFontaine carts in the memo. That's where I buy my autos.
Ouch.
Or have bought my autos. It's actually Zott. Zott Cart,
Yeah.
great partner of the Village of Holly, if you're listening. But Zott Carts, besides their automobile lines, they have a line of golf carts, or a separate business for golf carts, and they're located in Highland, Michigan. They have offered to partner with us and build us a custom golf cart that we can raffle off. They do not require any money down. They do not require any type of signed contract from us. We can pay them for the cart at the end of the raffle. So the cost of the custom golf cart that they will build for us is just under $10,000, and they will deliver it on May the 1st, or the first week in May, so that we can display it throughout the summer at the car shows, the ladies' night out, what other events that we want to, and we would then sell raffle tickets. My proposal would be for us to conduct that large ticket raffle and sell tickets for $10 a piece, and then we will garner all that money, pull the winning ticket at the Holidays Festival that Saturday night, just prior to the fireworks shoot, and the person will actually be able to leave that night knowing that they won the cart. So my request to council is to authorize staff on behalf of the Parks Commission to conduct this large ticket raffle for a golf cart. I have presented this, or have had it presented, to the Parks Commission and the DDA. And the DDA, because the downtown shoot, of course, is in the DDA district, and the DDA has always been a very generous sponsor of the fireworks events since 2015 that occur in their district. So I would ask for council's authorization to conduct this raffle.
You're also partnering with the Holly Chamber of Commerce.
Yeah, actually, it's required that a nonprofit be the license holder for any type of large ticket raffle such as this, and for the second year in a row, the Holly Chamber of Commerce has volunteered to work with us in that. Thank you.
Okay, I'll make the motion of consideration of the approval of a 2022 fireworks raffle.
I'll second that motion.
Motion and support. Motion by Powers and support by Weinrenner. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
I was just going to say,
Oh,
Mr.
sorry.
President, did
Yeah.
I see your eyes light up at the words custom golf cart?
Custom golf cart. Yes, and I'm looking forward to that, but I don't want to pre-test it by the manager during these displays.
Yeah.
And I'll pay a bounty if I see a picture of the manager driving this at a display.
Somebody has to demo it.
I'll buy more than my share of tickets.
I figured you would.
Any more serious discussion on this? Roll call vote, please.
Kinnaman.
Yes.
Powers.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Musgrave.
Yes.
Weinbrenner.
Yes.
Delaney.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes, motion carried. Reports, Mr. Walker.
Yes, thank you. Besides my written report that is contained in your packet, I have just two items. The first is on the Railroad Training House. Mr. Love brought it up today, the prior fire department house that was used for training on Railroad Street. I received a text from Mr. Mills, who is the owner of the house, just today. he, knowing that we had a council meeting tonight, wanted to provide us an update. I had spoke with him just before the Christmas break, and just to inquire about the status. Consumers has informed him, and they have the house marked with paint where the gas lines are. They're going to disconnect the gas service on the 13th of January. He said as soon as possible after that, he will begin demolition on the house. Now, please keep in mind that his plans are, in working with historic architect through Oakland County Planning, to leave portions of the front facade because architecturally there's some historic value there. And so Oakland County is working on him, and I think there's probably a little bit of grant money there. But he plans on demoing the house, securing what is left, and then making the site safe. And then it'll sit that way until the springtime, when he can come in and then complete the finished grade and then the rest of the work on the house as far as reconstruction, for what's going to be reconstructed on it. So Mr. Mills has been very busy in the village. As you know, he completed the 3 homes that he was working on Bevins Drive, 2 on North Street. He's currently building a house on Hartner, and then so this then will be his next project when he works into that. But it was very apropos that Mr. Love brought this up because Mr. Mills had just contacted me, and I knew that council would want that update anyways. The next thing I have is in relation to movie filming. So Holly, while periodically we have films that are shot mostly just in part, bit scenes here and there, and that occurred last year on a couple of different occasions. Right now we have 2 movies that are either in the process or in the planning stages of being shot in their entirety in the village of Holly. One at the Holly Hotel, contained inside the hotel, I would say the vast majority of it. The other one is going to center around the railroad depot. And the depot was selected by this particular filmmaker, producer, in part so that he could give back to the community. And so part of the film, the film is going to be about saving the Holly Depot. And then we will be able to turn around and use that film, or portions of it, for our promotional endeavors to raise monies to in fact help us save the Holly Depot. So it's a really neat concept, and we're very appreciative. I mean, some of our local stars, Chief Nurse, will be in the film itself, and there'll be some other Holly people around the community who will be in the film in one way or the other, whether they have bit scenes or they're extras or starring roles. At the end of the film, it's my understanding that they're going to give opportunity to DDA Director Nick Klump to actually make a pitch or an appeal for support for the Holly Depot. So I think it's a win-win in every way for the Holly community, and certainly for this project. Now, we do have an ordinance in the village that talks about if people are going to film make in the village and they're going to use village resources such as roadways, sidewalks, personnel, that they reimburse the village for those services. And in fact, the ordinance states that upon filing an application, that they will even pay for the evaluation of what resources are going to be used for that. To this point, we are going to have this one with the depot because it's going to be outside and because they are going to block some roadways and sidewalks. We are going to have them complete an application. I don't think, in our discussions with them, and we've met with them a couple of times, I don't think that there's any need for a payment for evaluating the resources, because we've talked about it and because it is a fundraiser coming back to the village, portion of it, and for the depot. And so we wanted to make council aware that this was occurring. We wanted to make council aware that there in fact is an ordinance on the books that states, by resolution, council will establish a fee for the evaluation of this. And so I think it would be appropriate, if council has no objections now, even though it's not on the agenda itself, if I would ask you to just make a motion to waive any fees for the evaluation of the permit for this filming. I've talked with the filmmakers, if it involves actual resources of the village, such as if we have to call manpower in forms of personnel to come in off duty, that certainly we're not going to bear that cost, although I think it would be justified in some ways because we're going to benefit from it. But they've agreed to that if they cause the cost of additional payments, then they will do that. But as far as the permit fee, I would ask council to waive that fee.
Motion would be in order, I think.
So moved.
Yeah.
Motion by Musgrave. It's hard to get a motion in before
Second.
Councilperson Musgrave.
Second.
It's good. And,
I read my paperwork.
right. Support by Delaney. Any further discussion? Roll call vote, please.
Powers.
Yes.
Perkins.
Yes.
Musgrave.
Yes.
Weinbrenner.
Yes.
Delaney.
Yes.
Kinnaman.
Yes.
McKinney.
Yes, motion carried.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walker.
Can I ask one question of Mr. Walker?
Certainly.
Mr. Mills has brought in more piles of dirt that I get to look at every day. Is that going to continue?
So I will talk with him about that. I wasn't aware that that had occurred. Perhaps it's coming from his other building site, but I certainly will talk with him. Because I told him I have other items to talk with him about anyways, nothing on a negative point, but just all his activity. Because as you know, he also is the owner of a piece of property on Grange Hall Road where he plans to do a commercial construction. We don't want all that dirt coming next to your house also.
We don't.
Yeah, so I will talk with him about that.
Thank you.
Mr. Gildner.
Nothing in particular, no. There's a few things in the hopper that I've been working with Jerry on. Apart from that, we have a few notable cases in court that we're prosecuting on behalf of the village, but nothing, I don't think, worthy of reporting today. I'm happy to answer any questions, but nothing in particular.
Any questions of Mr. Gildner?
Just status of 400 Elm. You go back to court in January?
I'm sorry?
400 Elm?
Saki?
Yes.
No, court concerning him is done.
Oh, it's over?
He filed a motion to set aside, this is the Kelvin Stocky is the owner of that parcel. He filed a motion to set aside the default judgment. There was a hearing on it first part of January. The judge denied the motion. And I suspect that tonight, after the meeting, we'll be having some discussion about what the next step is in terms of that property.
Fantastic.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Gildner. Ms. Bigger.
Nothing to add to my written report this month.
Thank you. Board and commission updates and council comments. Brian Shield.
Thank you, Mr. President. Again, sorry about not being here the last couple of months. I was a little under the weather and that, and I just want to say, Mr. President, I hope to win the golf cart as well. Anyway, on a more serious note, I have nothing to report for you guys this month. Anyway, that's all I have for this evening.
Thank you. Ms. Musgrave.
Personnel and finance have not met, so I have nothing to report.
Mr. Powers.
Yes, we met at Parks, and we're talking about, lost track of what we were working on. I just lost it for a second there.
I'm going to move on. You can come. Well, you can raise your hand and let us know.
Okay,
if
okay, thank
you
you.
capture that moment. Mr. Weinbrenner.
No, nothing whatsoever, sir.
Okay. Mr. Perkins.
HTC meets on Thursday, and I hope everybody had good holidays. That's it for me.
Thank you. Mr. Delaney.
The Zoning Board of Appeals did not meet in January due to lack of business. Other than that, very happy New Year to everyone.
Thank you. Mr. Powers, any?
Yeah, March 5th, we're going to be doing a fundraiser that's going to be at the Vault. And this fundraiser is, of course, raise money for the Vietnam Wall, which I'm very excited about, is coming into Holly in August of next year. And this is going to be one of several fundraisers they're planning on doing. It's going to be a very nice dinner, and then along with the dinner, there's going to be a dinner and theater. And this is something that's going to be at the Vault over to the school there, in one of their banquet rooms. And I think there's 150 tickets that are going to be sold. They're $40 a ticket, $60 for a couple. Should be a very nice dinner and play, and well worth attending. Now, how I could have forgot that, I don't know.
Alzheimer's.
Yeah, but
I thought he was excited.
yeah, it was too much excitement, I guess. But we're continually working on projects in the parks to improve all the time.
Thank you for that update. Mr. Kinnaman.
Charter and Ordinance has met several times and has a document that has been reviewed by legal counsel and is we are preparing to have that, we have motioned to have that brought back to council in February. And in the meantime, Planning Commission has some zoning text amendments that need to go along with that because we are adding items to zoning areas. We need to update the text in those zoning ordinances to include those as well. And so when that is, planning is next week, 2 weeks away, I think. And that will come along with the actual ordinance itself before council. And as we say, the preparation for that is for February. Planning also has 2 properties that we are looking at some things for in the coming weeks. And then just a little update as well. The movie, we've been working on that. It came to us through the Depot Committee. The producer for that film had been helping us work on a documentary type presentation to give to prospective donors for the Depot. And in that process, the producer, he just kind of said, you know, a documentary is kind of boring. Let's make a movie. And he had a script available and sent it back to his writers to tweak it to actually fit our community and our scenario. And in the conversation about logistics of all of the scenes, one of them, he says, I need to have a gala or event that the movie kind of ends with, that the lead lady is trying to raise funds for the Depot and have this event. And we said, you know what, we just happen to have one. The annual dinner for the Chamber of Commerce. And so there will be some scenes shot at that dinner as well. If you look online to Altered Design, Holly Herrick hosted a video presentation today. I thought it was like the Holly View.
More like the 5.
The 5, okay, yes. And did a nice little video with the director, with Chief Narsh, Holly, and then Linda Stouffer from the coffee shop, and really talked about what what this entails and what's coming to the community. And so we are excited as the depot committee for this project. And there will be possibly late spring a premiere of the movie when it is available, and that will be an actual fundraiser for the depot project. And that's being written into the contracts that the producer sets up. So I think it's going to be a fun movie. We're going to reenact some of the Dickens Festival with the stage and maybe the parade, and just have a good time. So Holly is the place.
Yes, it is.
Thank you for the report.
Yep.
January 26th is the date.
For what meeting?
Planning Commission.
Oh, thank you.
Oh, thank you, John. Mr. Walker, Mr. Gildner, with regard to the legalized marijuana facilities in Holly, there's a provision in the statute that does allow for a referendum, as was alluded to by Mr. Love, but that's kind of a plan B, isn't it, if nothing's done by the municipality? Am I wrong, or can you flesh that out for us?
So the statute says that it's up to the community to decide, subject to a referendum. So it's not really subject to any deadline or triggering event. It's that if the village were to say we don't want it, for example, someone can submit a referendum to force the issue to allow it, and vice versa. So that's built into the statute. That's been there since about 2018, I believe it is. So it's been there, and it's been utilized in some of my other communities. So to each their own.
Any comment, Mr. Walker?
No, I think Mr. Gildner did fine.
I think he means he concurs, is what he means to say. Thank you. Any further comments or questions? Again, Happy New Year. Good to see you all, and Happy New Year, and look forward to this coming year. We're adjourned.
Just in time for Yellowstone. I love that show.
That's